Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm for Classic and welcome to BenchART. So for today I do have in here a weird game. So this is a Stardiver. It's not even that new of a game, so it was released like a couple of months ago, which I did request a key for the game. And because I thought it was an interesting game to try it out. It was released in 12 September, so yes, almost 3 months already, or 3 months already have passed. And I decided to not cover it, despite I had access to the game at the release, because technically the game was what I consider to be broken. And 3 months have passed, so I decided to revisit it and to see how it is at the moment after the updates that the developers did release. So as you can see, what I'm doing in here is just starting the game at 1080p, absolutely minimum settings in here, so texture resolution to the minimum, no shadows, nothing. Everything is super ugly like this, and I just decided to perform a new game just for you to have an idea what to expect. So loadings does take a while in this game, but I have in here my MSI Afterburner overlay running on the upper left corner, which allows us to understand what is happening during the load of this game, which yes, it does take a while. And one of the things that I immediately noticed is that VRAM is already at 3.5 gigabytes, RAM usage is at 9 gigabytes. This is a DX11 game. Alright, it's not DX12 or Vulkan or any low-level API which needs to compile shaders or stuff like that. No, not really. And I think it is using a Unity engine. So we are still in here, waiting for the game to load. Alright, patiently. I could cut this from the video, but it's just for you to have an idea what to expect. Alright. Remember, I have an SSD, not an HDD. And the first things that I noticed is that textures looks really bad, which makes sense since I'm using textures on minimum. But another thing that I immediately noticed is that VRAM usage is at 3.9, despite the dedicated usage is at 1 gigabyte. So it seems that the game is allocating a lot of memory of the VRAM available that they have, but it is only using like 1 gigabyte. RAM usage is also 1.9, RAM usage is 11 gigabytes, And if I look to the settings, it says that texture resolution it is set to very high and shadows are smooth medium, which is not true. Textures are at minimum, just like I did set it on the main menu, and there is no shadows like you saw. So this is broken. It doesn't really tell you the reality of what is happening, so I would change texture resolution in here just on the fly to very high. And look at the difference. Yes, this is the very high textures. This is the real very high textures. And still, the game it is obviously using 4 gigabytes of VRAM, 1.6 of VRAM usage. Alright. So let's put to the minimum again and disable the shadows, just to keep the game at minimum quality in here. And yes, you can see that the rocks have like these solid textures in here. And frame rate doesn't look bad, alright, it's above 60, but you can notice the game just shuddering all over the place, so frame times are entirely broken. And that's my issue with the game mainly. Big stutters, which seems to be a traversal stutter. And also, like, when you rotate the chip, when you do kind of a pan rotation in here, it doesn't seems very smooth. So I thought that this could be like a CPU limitation in here, so I decided to kept the game to 30 frames per second, keeping the game on its minimum, and enable VSync, just, I don't know, just for trying it to be smooth, you know. And you can notice that a big stutter, and when I do rotate, it seems that there is this judder going on, it doesn't feel smooth. Alright, 30 frames per second is not smooth, but it should be consistent 30 frames per second, and it's actually not, you know, disappointing when it comes to the performance. So I just gave up and I just exited the game, and I was preparing to do the video, but then I remind myself, alright, so let's go back into the game and try to play the game with decent settings. Since it plays so bad that these garbage settings, why not going with texture resolution on maybe, I don't know, very high, I don't know. Let's adjust to something like low, smooth high, since the game seems to have an issue with VRAM. And enable all the stuff, so initial light, the lightning, depth of field, the boom, so all the, you know, post-processing stuff. And I'm capped to 30 frames per second, so yeah, let's just remove this. Let's disable frame rate limiter. And yes, we are having like 48 frames per second, 47. So yeah, it's cool like this. But something is off. You know, texture quality is not working properly because I think we did set the textures to low. So let's put the textures on high. And let's look to the grass. It doesn't look really that great, so let's put it to the very high in here. Anti-aliasing is set to 8 times, but that is just a post-processing anti-aliasing. It's not MSAA, don't worry. It isn't really demanding. But yeah, it's about above 30 frames per second. VRAM usage is at 4 gigabytes. RAM usage is going up and up.
Use the boost function
so
to
it's
increase speed.
13
Try
and half
performing a dodge
of
to the
RAM
right or
usage,
left.
so it seems like a leak or
You can
something.
perform
It's
up to 2
really using a lot of
consecutive
RAM.
dodges before a brief cooldown. Feel free to try the
Frame
cockpit
times
view.
is
Great.
they are
Now the
everywhere.
rotation.
So I mean, in
I
my
will display
opinion,
the
I
ship's
really
status
think
and
that this
objectives
game
on your
is
screen, as well as
it didn't
ammunition
evolve.
level.
So
Your basic
all the main
training is
issues that I
almost
had
complete,
with the game
pilot.
at the beginning,
One
they
final
still
task.
exist. It seems
Take
that
a moment to
they
familiarize
fixed a lot
yourself
of
with the
bugs
ship's
with the
computer.
gameplay and changed stuff in the gameplay to be more appealing. But regarding the technical parts of the game, it seems to be more or less the same, which is disappointing
We
because
need to conduct a quick
I
reconnaissance.
joined their
The last
Discord of
AI
the
crew that was
developers
sent
and
here
tried
built
to
a base
warn
somewhere
them
near.
about
I've
the
marked a few
conditions
points
of
on
the
the
game.
map. Please fly to them so I
And
can
I
adjust our coordinates.
explained it.
I'm
I have done
standing by
videos
pilot.
to them explaining what was happening, the changing, the settings wasn't really representing the changes that I was doing and stuff like that. Like you saw, like the texture quality being at very high, and then it was in reality the minimum setting. I explained all these bugs, but unfortunately they didn't really, you know, fix them. And yeah, it's disappointing in that sense. But yeah, I do understand that the game can be demanding. I do understand that probably the issue is the 4 gigabytes of VRAM and that we might need like a GPU with more VRAM, but still I don't see textures that might consume this amount of VRAM, so something is really off with this. The dedicated usage, as you can see, is around 2.9 because I'm using the very high textures, but when I was using the minimum, the game dedicated usage of VRAM was 1 gigabyte. It seems like the game is allocating the VRAM in the
Excellent
wrong
job,
way.
pilot. I've mapped the
So
area
something
horizontally.
is
Now we need to map it vertically to
really off
pinpoint
with
the
the
base's
memory
location.
managing of this
Please,
game.
fly
Probably
higher.
if you, like I said, if you have like a 6 gigabytes VRAM GPU or an 8 gigabytes of VRAM GPU, probably this doesn't happen. And probably the blame is clearly the 4 gigabytes of VRAM GPUs, but I think that this shouldn't be happening also on the 4 gigabytes of VRAM GPUs because something is not right in here. Guys, I think that's all that I want to talk about Stardiver, at least on its technical front. As a new surprise, look at the frame time graph now. It just got more broken, and I have like now less than 30 frames per second. GPU usage is at 94%. It's like we are having a CPU bottleneck, and who knows, it might be. This game might be 100% single-threaded in a world that we have like 12-thread CPUs, 16-thread CPUs, or even more if we can count with the Intel E-cores. So this might just be very bad optimized, or probably add that VRAM usage, or probably both, I don't know. What I know is that if you are going to play Stardiver, which is incredibly cheap at the moment, keep in mind that you might have these kind of issues. So I think that's all that I want to talk about this game. Guys, thank you much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.
Request to open the gate.
Goodbye.